basically the idea of the world going under. It was a theme that I thought was suitable for a children's book, but of course combined with an invasion from outer space, or in this case actually inner space, or not so outer space. They are coming from the moon, and you can't see them, and they are really, really nasty animals. Kind of animals that you wish didn't exist. And in this book, Nili and Lisa and Dr. Proctor, they have to basically save the world. I thought that was natural. They in the third book in the series about Dr. Proctor, is that it has sort of escalated from saving themselves to saving the neighborhood, and now finally to save the world. I don't know if when I start writing these books, if I have any real inspiration. It must be some things from my own childhood, I guess, but basically it's like if writing the Harry Hole series is directing a symphony orchestra, or conducting a symphony orchestra. This is more like bringing your guitar to a jazz jam session with a couple of guys on scene and just start playing and see what happens. You have some basic chords, and in the writing process some basic themes and characters. And I have planned the story, but I'm always open to changing the story and go in other directions. So it's really fun stories to write, and just the writing process is in many ways an inspiration in itself. And I think that it's just that the writing and the characters takes me to where I'm going in these books. I try to stay disciplined. I try to be a grown-up and to have a plan and to follow and stick to the plan, but doesn't always happen that way. Writing about Harry Hole is going to a dark place and staying there for like 2 years. So coming out of that dark cellar that where I spent 2 years with Harry, it's really nice to get up into the daylight and to meet Dr. Proctor and Nili and Lisa again. They are much more fun people to be around than Harry, So although I love Harry, but you can't spend too much time with Harry. He's too intense. He's too dark. While these three friends, they are it's much more fun to be with them. I'm not sure if I can remember so much about what happened when I was writing Dr. Proctor, beside writing it. It's an even crazier universe than Harry Hole's universe. So when I go into that universe, I lock the door behind me, and reality doesn't exist. Only the universe of Nili, Dr. Proctor, and Lisa, and that's where it's happening. And I guess lead a very boring life during the process of writing these books, but I have the feeling that I'm living a crazy life just because I'm in that room with those characters. So I can't remember anything even slight that can compares to the crazy things that happens in the book. The books are enough. At the end of the day, I've been sitting in a room all by myself writing, and it feels like I've been riding a roller coaster and swimming and jumping from mountains and flying planes all day long. Feels that way. That's a good thing about being a writer. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit in your own room and do whatever you like and travel wherever you like, meet people, spend time with friends. I've been writing, about Dr. Proctor in cafes, at airports, at planes, at trains, a little bit at home too, at my small cottage just outside Oslo, But I find it that, you know, the most productive time is on the train riding to my cottage rather than at the cottage. I really like the idea of writing about the end of the world, you know, and writing about um, um, a small nation being run by a king, um, and having someone taking over the country. So it's a sort of you know story about what would happen if we had World War II again in Oslo, if we were invaded by you know, foreigners. How would you and I react? Who would be the heroes? And in this case, it's you know, the three most unlikely people. It's you know, a more or less mad professor who is only interested in his own inventions, and his girlfriend, and you know, this tiny red-haired guy, Nilly, who always, you know, want to be a hero, but who isn't too keen to live a dangerous life. And it's Lisa, who is this clever, wise girl, and who also, you know, doesn't want to risk too much. Those are the three people that really have to stand up against the invaders. In my children's books, you know, if I were to rewrite them, they would probably be totally different. And that is because I do plan, I do have a plot, I do have a story before I start, but I will, every time you know, I will write something totally, or not totally, but at least it will be quite different from what I planned. So it would be the same thing if I rewrote them, that I would probably end up somewhere completely different from where I planned. And that is, you know, the nice thing about writing the children's books, that I'm letting my, you know, my imagination take me to the places where I hadn't planned to go. When I started writing the third book in the Doctor Proctor series, I had, you know, a feeling that it might be the last book, but I changed my mind. It's too much fun to write, and also I promised some children that I would write the third book, or a fourth book. So now I have to. Simple as that.